Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Welcome into a Bitch and Moan Monday. If you're a Bucs fan, if you're a Seminole fan, that was a nice weekend. Big win over Duke. We got so much to get to today on the JP Peterson Show. We thank you guys so much for joining us. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. In our first hour, the Bucs. Boy, it felt, the score said it was tighter. The game felt worse than that in a lot of different ways. So we're going to break down this Bucs loss to the Falcons, 16-13. A game, quite frankly, they should have won on many levels. But what the hell is wrong with the Bucs offense? We will dive into that. The entire issues on both sides of the ball. We'll get into that. The Bolts lost a heartbreaker on Saturday night to Toronto. So that's certainly a work in progress. Dave Archer is going to join us from the Falcons Radio Network to talk Bucs. Casey Hudson will join us in our second hour at 11:15 to talk Bolts. And I'll say good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you this morning? You got your Buccaneers gear, your Brady. You're Brady. You're throwing it back?
My Tom Brady jersey is on this morning.
Better than creamsicle.
Well, I got news for you. It doesn't matter what this team puts on. It doesn't matter. Alarm clocks, creamsicles, championships. It don't matter, man. It don't matter one bit. But I wear this Tom Brady jersey today to remind myself, to remind you, and to remind everybody watching of what better times used to look like. I had to put it on today. In fact, 20
and 21 were fun.
Yeah. Well, even the offense last year moved the ball better than this one.
I don't know.
Statistically, I think it tells you. Actually, you know what? Statistically, they're the same this year than they were last year. So, chew on that for a little bit.
Yeah, and the problem is right now is as it's currently configured, I don't see how it gets better. And that's one of the things, the takeaways I have from this is something. It was a constant theme of last year. It's been a constant theme, for Todd Bowles' coach teams. Number one, he loses out of the bye week, which tells you something about coaching and how he treats his team. Last week, giving them 7 straight days off, which it's absolutely unimaginable for a team like this. And they came out sluggish and got beat. But that was a pretty good football team they played in the Lions, although the Lions didn't show it yesterday. This team, they can beat. Although I will say this, the Falcons, and I've told you guys this for 2 years now, the Falcons are on the come. This is a team that's a quarterback away from being a pretty good damn football team, because this is the main problem. And I preach this forever, and I've learned it from every good football person that I've ever known and talked to, Rondé Barber among them, Derek Brooks among them. Football comes down to the most important thing in football is physicality. It's still about physicality. And when you can impose your will on the other team, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win the game. This team is, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean it personally, I know, even though it sounds like it, but this is more of just a football analysis. This team is soft. It's soft in so many ways. It's a soft training camp, soft discipline, soft accountability, soft physically on the field. Show me one bad son of a bitch on this team. You got Tristan Wirfs, Luke Gedeke. I got to give him credit. That's a strong guy that can handle himself out there. We don't have many strong guys that can handle himself. Kalijah Kancey, I think, is a guy that physically can impose himself, even though he's not really, really big. He plays low, moves people. So I'm talking about people that can physically dominate the person in front of them. Antoine Winfield Jr. is a safety, but he plays hard, and he makes you feel him out there. Other than that,
the oldest guy on the field, Levante David, who's
all of 225 pounds,
right?
But he shows up and plays physical. Outside of that, it's a bunch of soft serve. Your corners aren't physical at all. Jamel Dean is super soft. Carlton Davis, talking all this shiz before the season, super soft. yesterday. What plays has he made? Ryan Neal is just awful. He may be, physically imposing, looking, but he doesn't affect the game that way. His football IQ is extremely low. That play against Kyle Pitts, you just got to come up and tackle him. It's pretty freaking simple. And we're going to listen to Todd Bowles here in a little bit. And at the end, he taught, we asked him about that play. He goes, I know exactly what happened, and we'll take care of it. But you're not going to tell us? He refuses to put any player or any segment on blast. Who are you protecting? We see the film. It just makes everybody feel like, as a coach, you're not holding anybody accountable. If you can't hold them accountable, the most basic plays in front of the media, how can I honestly believe they're going to fear you as a football coach? And I freaking love Todd Bowles, and I've been rooting for him and trying to wrap nobody, I don't think, roots harder for him than I do in the media. I want him to be successful. It's just hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch. And accountability comes down to this. If you're not doing the job, you need to sit down. And we're going to go through this. The changes I would make right away. And I've been saying this for 2 weeks on Ryan Neal. D. Delaney needs to play. He's not as big, he's not as strong, but he knows how to play the game and makes plays. His football IQ is 3 times what Ryan Neal's is. Get him out of there. And I tell you, here's something that I would do that he would never do. I'd put Servassier Dennis in for Devin White right now. Right now, Devin White is a pair of shoes. He cannot. We've been talking about this for so long. Go look at the tape. And we told you last week, the Falcons are going to target Devin White in the run game and the pass game. That's exactly what happened.
You know what's crazy about Devin White, JP? This is the crazy part. For a defense that prides itself on stopping the run, which they did not do yesterday in the second half whatsoever.
Nope.
Isn't it funny how the guy in the middle of the defense, I never come on this show and I go, you know what? Devin White had a lot to do with the Bucs stopping the run today.
Nope.
It's never the case. And you look at yesterday, the Falcons ran the ball 38 times for 156 yards, okay? Devin White had 5 tackles yesterday. 5.
And I think 4 of the 5 were 8 or 9 yards down the field.
Right.
So it's not even
Devin White. The Bucs might have played with 10 guys out there yesterday. He gave you nothing. Yep. And then late in the game, big play in the game, the 45-yard pass to Tyler Algier where he has all the space in the world.
Yep.
Devin White's man. But what does Devin White do? He plays hero ball.
Yep.
He plays hero ball. He goes and shows that he's the Jameis Winston of this defense and has been since he got into this league, where he tries to play hero ball and be the guy and make the play instead of just doing your job.
Your job.
Do your job and
get on your man. Your job is to stay with that back. And it's as basic as football gets. You don't leave your man until he crosses the line of scrimmage.
Right.
You don't leave your man until he crosses the line of scrimmage. And what do you do?
Yeah, these are basic mistakes and basic football stuff that I would expect a linebacker who's been in the league now for 5 years, that was taken with a top 5 pick in the NFL. I expect better, and especially for a linebacker, wants to be paid like Roquan Smith and some of these elite linebackers in the league. And what were we saying? Okay, Devin, the time for talk is over, and he stopped talking. He said he regretted everything. All right, go play and earn your money. All right,
yeah, we were like, okay, cool.
He's the same player.
Go play. Yeah,
he's the same player. I mean, you are what you are in this league.
Yeah, we knew that. What was going to change? Was he suddenly going to learn how to get off blocks? Was he suddenly going to have great instincts like Levante David and be able to scrape to the ball inside before the the guard or tackle gets there and make a play in the hole? No. Was he suddenly, the only thing that he's done well is blitz. He can come hard and quickly affect the quarterback.
Where's it at this year?
Where's it been? He hadn't even done that. It's just so this team in the end, when Devin White's supposed to be the big bad, run around, make big hits guy. Where's that? Where's that been? This team is soft. They can't, and against physical teams, they cannot match up. Against the Eagles, the 49ers, they get embarrassed. And I'll tell you what, and I told you this last year when the Falcons came here, they were one bad Tom Brady roughing the passer penalty away from shoving it right down our throat and winning that game last year. Yeah. And they came in here and knew damn well, even without Bijan Robinson, they're going to run the football right down the Bucs' throat.
And I got news for you. The score might have said 16-13. It was 13-13. Yeah. This game was not close, folks. It was not
three
close.
fumbles in the red zone by Desmond Ridder kept this from being a blowout.
Exactly. 3 fumbles in the red zone by Desmond Ridder kept the Bucs in the game. We talk a lot about the Bucs beating Bucs, and the Bucs did that yesterday. But the Falcons beat themselves too. Okay, this game, if you summed it up, it was here's the Bucs. All right, Falcons, you take the game. But the Falcons were like, okay, you take the game. I don't want it. It was just back and forth like that. It was awful football at the end of the day. It's embarrassing that one of these teams is going to host a playoff game because none of them deserve it whatsoever. The NFC South stinks still. But the Bucs, again, how do you get all these opportunities? We talked about winning the turnover margin, and you won it yesterday. You got 3 gifts. 3 gifts from Desmond Ridder, who we told you was going to turn the ball over, whether it's interception or fumbles or things like that, and you converted nothing after
he threw a couple of picks yesterday that we dropped again.
Right.
A couple of three opportunities that they had for picks, but of course get none. This was a bad performance, but here's the interesting thing about it. And I know the narrative is going to be that the offense is irredeemable. It's not fixable. And to some degree, I think that may be true, but we'll get into that. But the narrative, is going to be Baker Mayfield sucks. He's never been good. He can't be good. And the thing is, even last week, and these plays are on Baker, don't get me wrong, but last week and some on the receivers as well. They left 21 points on the board. Yesterday, they left 14 points on the board. They'll go back and look at the tape, and the Rashad White on second down is standing there in the flat because why? Because they're squeezing Godwin and Evans. And everybody wants to say, well, you got to get Godwin and Evans involved. They had 20 targets yesterday between them. 20. Yeah. 20 targets between them. And by the way, you can't just say, well, we're just going to throw to Evans every time. That's stupid because he's not open every time. And Godwin's not open every time. Godwin, his separation is not what it used to be. It's like they're still really, really good players, super good players. Are they elites? I don't know. I don't know. But when you're getting this much attention, which the Falcons rightly do, they're not scared. Kate Otton's not scaring them. Baker's didn't throw to the back as much as he should. Every time he threw to Rashad White, it was a 15, 20-yard clip. And he's going to look at the tape and go, and he said it yesterday afterwards. He said, I got to hit the check down.
Well, he had 6 for 65. He had 6 for 65 yesterday, which
they were giving it to him because they were squeezing.
Right. It might have been Rashad White's best day as a receiver. And I said last week, for all this talk about Rashad White being a great back at a great, pass catching back, I haven't seen it in the NFL.
They got to use him.
Yesterday I did, and maybe that was, like you said, they were kind of giving it to him, but give Rashad White credit. He moved in space yesterday and made some really good moves and was getting hard yardage there these runs. I don't know why he can't translate that into running the football on some of these runs. It's not only him. We know that. But I saw a different player yesterday when he caught the football than I've seen in space, and then I see whenever he gets the ball out of the backfield.
I still think they need a running back. They need to go find somebody. Rashad Penny, who's buried on a depth chart. Anybody. Just give anybody. And I'm guessing Sean Tucker's just can't get the protections down
How
yet.
bad is Sean Tucker if Keyshawn Vaughn is still getting meaningful snaps in this team?
Wow.
Keyshawn Vaughn. And by the way, to the point about accountability, JP, this is what pisses me off.
Yep.
Keyshawn Vaughn was put 4th on the depth chart and threw a bitch fit, didn't show up to practice, requested a trade.
You know what he got?
Get it.
More carries.
He got a promotion. He got a promotion. Keyshawn Vaughn is getting carries on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023.
Yeah.
This guy's done nothing. And Todd Bowles is over here in the middle of the week saying, well, he's practiced well, and he's taken advantage of his opportunity. He's averaging 1.8 a carry.
Here's how do you know a running back is practicing well? They don't get tackled. They don't even go live. They're not even in pads in practice. And that's all I want to see from a running back is break a freaking tackle.
And then he drops a wide open pass in there on the sideline where if he just catches it and runs, he gets 7-8 yards, maybe makes a move in space, gets a first down, and he drops it. Drive killer. Get this guy off the team. And if you released him today, nobody in this league is calling. Nobody. He stinks.
Yeah, I was wrong on him. I saw something in him in his rookie year, and I saw something in him at Vanderbilt. But over the last 2 years, he's regressed. The times when you should be getting better, he's regressed. So I'm done with him. Rashad White, I still think has some redeemable qualities. And it's so funny because they break off 3 separate runs yesterday for decent yardage, and every one of them is called back for holding. I mean, good God. I mean, that changes the narrative. And, if Baker Mayfield hits Rachaad White in the flat and he scores and they win the game, it totally changes the narrative. Oh, the offense isn't that bad. They're 2 for 10 in the red zone at home. 2 for freaking 10. And this is where you earn your money, Dave Canales. You've got to come up with red zone package plays.
And they look like they have no idea what they're doing down there. If you watch some of the plays, like everybody's banging on Baker Mayfield for down at the end of the game. And yes, you get 3 opportunities at the red zone.
Nobody's open.
You got to get it in, but nobody's open.
Nobody's open.
Nobody is open. He takes a sack that he shouldn't take, absolutely. No. But at the same time, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You're not designing anybody open in these situations.
Yeah, and it's straight drop back. I don't see, and they're not running the boots and the stretch and things that they were earlier in the season. It just seems like Canales is searching. And here's the main problem. Here's the number one problem. This you want to run the football. This whole offense is predicated on running off the play action and hard play action and some RPOs. The problem is your interior line is awful. It's awful. I mean, Gedeke and Wirfs are good tackles, especially in pass pro. Yeah. But the inside guys are terrible. They can't move anybody. And I'm just telling you, folks, Robert Hainsey is not a physical specimen. Let me just put it to you that way. He is not a physical specimen. He ain't moving anybody. And Filer is a pair of shoes. He is, I mean, there's a reason these guys are available.
Matt Filer is giving me J.R. Sweezy vibes.
Oh, my God. Terrible. And then, Cody Mauch, sorry. He ain't moving anybody.
He's a rookie. He's at a small school.
He's not strong enough.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, I think his bench press was awful. You can't play in this league if you're weak and small on the offensive line. No. And I know he's a rookie, and he's hopefully he gets better and all that, but he ain't ready to play in the NFL right now. He's not.
No, and again, we said
he's
this.
Athletic. I get it. He's got some upside. There's no question about it. But he's just not ready for the NFL right now. Not that level. Like yesterday, when you're playing against Grady Jackson and Calais Campbell and they're good freaking big ass nasty players, and the Falcons are good defense. Here's the other thing: you've played 2 top 5 defenses in the last few. You played 3 top 5 defenses in the last 4 weeks. This team will not match up well against good defenses and teams with good run games. It's a bad matchup for them because it becomes a physical football game, and you can't match them. This team has to be overhauled and get some physical players up front. They got nobody, with exception. I didn't mention Vita Vea. Vita Vea moves people around, and every time the Bucs get gashed, they bring in Vita Vea, and it tends to stop a little bit. But the rest of the guys are just not getting the job done. So they got a lot of work to do.
And when it comes to personnel decisions, and again, your personnel is your personnel. There's not much you can do, in season. But listen, to the offensive line point, we were saying this in March. We said this in April. We said it in May. We said it all offseason. Why are we just giving Matt Filer the left guard job automatically? What? Because he's big?
Yeah.
Because he's big? The guy's 31 years old. Yeah. Okay? He's been traveling around the league. He's been moved out of that position before. I wonder why.
Yeah.
He's wonder washed. Why, JP.
He's washed.
Whereas
Nick Leverett is not an all-pro player, exactly. But he's better than Matt Filer.
Nick Leverett held up well last year. You saw how much better that offensive line got last year whenever he came in instead of Luke Gedeke at that left guard position. I think we all would tell you he was not a problem last year, to be honest with you. I thought he did a serviceable job. And right now they're not even getting serviceable from anybody in that, whether it's Cody Mauch, Robert Hainsey, or Matt Filer. They're not getting any of it. And then go to right guard. If Cody Mauch's not ready to play, and that seems to be the case right now, you know what? I know it's been 3 years, but I watched Aaron Stinney on a Super Bowl winning team do a pretty good job in big games. Well, I know he's been injured. I know it's been 3 years, but what else? What's it? That's what I'm saying. What's it going to hurt at this point to try something new?
You'll hear it when Todd Bowles. I asked him, interior line and running back, you going to make any personnel changes? We'll look at it. They're not doing it.
Well, they're not coming on a short week. There's no way.
You can't do it on a short week. I totally get that. But after, on the mini bye, these changes all need to be made. Dee Delaney for Ryan Neal, Nick Leverett for Matt Filer. I'm replacing Cody Mauch, whether it's Stinney or somebody else. Give me somebody else.
And when Edmonds gets healthy,
Dennis in for Devin White, they won't do it.
They won't do it. When Edmonds gets back, I need to see him I need to see him.
Oh, yeah.
More.
Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds, I think, will give you the best shot right now.
You got to go get a new running back. You got to go get somebody to put some life into this running game. You got to make all those shit. Yaya Diaby needs to play way more. Had a fumble recovery, made some plays yesterday. It's just all these – those are the only things that you can really do right now. Those are the only things that you can do right now, but they're not going to do them. Todd Bowles won't do them. For whatever I don't get this sacred cow thing. I don't get it. If you're playing – guys that aren't playing well need to be replaced. Now, Baker Mayfield, has he regressed the last 2 weeks? 100% he has. He is not seeing the field like he did earlier in the year. He is he's holding the ball too long. He's suddenly, the bye week came and he's suddenly spooked. He lost his mojo. There's too many. The interception is just inexcusable. And we'll hear from Baker talking about how Godwin didn't get off the line as quick as he thought and didn't threaten the safety, so the safety came down. When he was getting ready to throw that ball, there was no throwing lane, and the safety was already coming over. It's almost like he predetermined he was going there with the ball, and once again, to his left, Rachaad White, flat open, nobody near him. For first down. You just, so he is, can he get that back? Yeah. Quarterbacks can get their mojo back. You start seeing ghosts for a little bit, but you get a couple of throws and then you get it back. So he's got to get it back what he had earlier in the year. Can he do it? We'll see. But if it continues to go like this and it's funny. We wanted to crown Baker Mayfield the first few weeks, and I'm saying he's playing great. I thought he would. I thought he would have a really good season, and here we're seeing it. Now, I wasn't silly enough to think, let's give him a contract. People are like, we should pay him. I'm like, hold on now. Let's let the whole season play out. So, but again, if you can't run the football and everything is predicated on running the football, teams now have the tape on you. They know that they can play the too high shell. And when they play in the too high shell and you can't run the football, you are screwed. Right. There's not a whole lot of places to throw the football.
Right. I think that's the thing with Baker is he's not like the problem. He's far from the problem, but the last 2 weeks he's been a problem.
He's been a problem.
He's been a problem. He's been part of the equation. And the biggest thing here, and this is why I think the offense, not to sound very, I guess pessimistic, if that's the right word here, I think they're doomed. I think there's a big chance this offense right now, as constructed, is doomed. Because when you can't run the football at any rate, every play they run the football at this point is a wasted play. It just is. When you have that, Baker Mayfield is not good enough, not talented enough as a quarterback to try to go out and win you a game on his own like that, like he's being asked to do. Yeah. Baker Mayfield came in here and we were sold on the idea that we were going to have this great run game and we were going to make it easy on him. And guys were going to be running distributor. Yeah. Guys were going to be running wide open. Yeah.
He's going to look like Brock Purdy.
Yeah, we were sold a false narrative here from Dave Canales, unfortunately, and a lot of that comes down to the personnel that they have. Yeah, to be honest with you, because they want to run the way his scheme works. They want to run through the tackles. Okay, they want to live that way, and quite frankly, even if you wanted to go outside the tackles, they've already shown you on tape. Especially go back to the Lions game, and they didn't even try it in this game because they can't. The tight ends on this team cannot block.
They're awful.
They just
can't. At
the
beginning of the year,
they just can't do it. So that's what I'm saying. I fear they might be doomed a little bit right now.
They're stuck in a lot of ways because of limited personnel offensively, and and that's the thing. You can get by it early in the season, but when teams figure out what you can and cannot do, now you got to adjust. That's what we talked about all last week. This is where good coaching comes in. You got to adjust. They know what you can and cannot do. What are you going to do to answer what they're doing? And it comes down to physicality as well. You look at San Francisco and to some degree Seattle, but more San Francisco. And we're trying to run that same type of offense, but they have McCaffrey. They have an offensive line that freaking moves people.
But you're using San Francisco, and they're probably the best team in the league. So take them out of the equation. Just look at yesterday. You're playing Atlanta. Okay, and yes, Atlanta you can say is on the come up, this and that, but John Robinson didn't even play yesterday. Much.
Thanks a lot for that, by the way. If you're not going to play him, can you just inactivate him?
Yeah, it would have been nice to know.
Deactivate him.
But no, he doesn't even play in that game. And Atlanta, they pushed around the Bucs defensive line in the run game, and honestly in the pass game too. Outside of the Shaq Barrett, Kalijah Cansey, team up there and got the fumble, all that before the half. Outside of that,
yeah.
Do you recall once Desmond Ridder getting hit?
No.
I don't recall that. I don't recall seeing that in this game.
No. It's the
They
defense.
They got bullied by the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Falcons.
Well, they got bullied last year by the Falcons. They did. I mean, yeah, it's
and they made things easy for Ridder. Like Ridder had 3 turnovers, yes. Okay. But from a passing standpoint, Ridder, I think he was like 19 for 25 for 250. Yeah. And honestly, the Bucs made it easy on him.
Very easy.
They're playing soft coverage again.
So soft.
So soft. I mean, you got 2 cover corners.
$15, $20 million, and you're playing soft zone defense.
Yeah, and that's not their strength. That's not their strength. And I heard this on the broadcast yesterday. You probably didn't see it because you were at the game, but Mark Schlereth said he was talking to Todd Bowles this week, and he was saying, we do really well in man coverage, but in zone we haven't played our best, and so we got to fix that. Well, now I probably need to talk to somebody who knows football, but do you have to, if you're not good at playing zone and you're good at playing man coverage, okay, and that's your strength, why even bother? Like, is it possible to go a whole game without doing zone, or do you have to mix it up? Like, I don't know. I'm not a football savant to know the answers to that question.
So many of your check coverages are 2 zones because it just, it covers it supposedly covers everything, but it's the way you play the zone, and we play such a soft zone. We don't match up. When guys come into the zone, you're not running to them and matching them up. It's just like you're just hanging out, waiting for the ball to come to you, and then you rally up and tackle. I don't get that. I just, it's a bend but don't break mentality. Don't give up the big plays. And then here you are late in the game playing zone defense, and Kyle Pitts is running past Ryan Neal. It's just catching the ball and running right past him.
Earlier in the game, Scotty Miller's running. Scotty Miller, who was like
that was man. And
Scotty Miller's running right past Carlton Davis.
Yeah,
Scotty Miller.
Yeah. And with a nice ball too.
Wait, what am I paying this guy for?
Yeah, the guys that are getting paid ain't making a whole lot of plays. But
that's my thing. Like when it comes down to the defense, I'm so torn on it. Like the defense on one hand of the equation, the last 3 games has given up 9 points, 20 points, and 16 points. I believe that's 45 if I got my math correct, and that's an average of 15 a game. In the modern day NFL, that's outstanding, and you should win all of those football games. But on the flip side of that equation, when it got into the big moments of the game, they didn't make plays, and they had these breaks in coverages and bust and all that kind of stuff. They don't get pressure to the quarterback whatsoever. And this just in, folks, they're now the worst third down team in the entire league. They're allowing teams to pick up third downs at a 50% conversion rate.
And again, that's coaching. That's coaching, because on third down, you're looking to get the matchups that you want, right? And they're getting the matchups that they want every single time. That's right. You're getting out coached when that's happening. You should be able to predict what they're going to do on third down and take it away. And you're not doing that.
No, they only got 4 guys. They have 4 guys on that defense who on a game-to-game basis, I will tell you, are very consistent. Antoine Winfield, who's playing at an all-pro level, fantastic. Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, and Levante David. Those 4 guys are starting to show you that they're the 4 most consistent players on this defense. Everybody else, they're not living up to anything.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. 100% agree. All right, let's play the Todd Bowles. We might have to stop it down in between. Are we allowed to do that, Nick? Can we do that, or just comment over? What do you?
Yeah, I'll try to stop it down here a little bit when you can.
Okay.
But let's pull it up here.
Todd Bowles, ladies and gentlemen. He was pissed, by the way. He should be.
Todd, what did you say to your team after the loss?
Can't let one loss turn into 2. We got a game in a couple of days. We got to get ready for that. Understanding the mistakes we got, and we got to refocus. And it's going to take everybody from a mental approach and be mentally tough. And as bad as this one was, we can't let it affect the next one.
Todd, earlier this week, Dave Canales was talking about how well everybody took account on offense. They played well, they were practiced well, they were vocal. He sounded like things were turning the page. Today, the offense looked like a preseason. Give you an explanation about why in practice they supposedly look so sharp, and yet today they looked anything but sharp?
Couldn't give you an explanation. We did practice well. We got to bring it to the game on Sunday. It means nothing if you don't bring it to the game on Sunday. We had more penalties than the law allowed offensively.
Oof.
All three phases had a hand in it, but we got to be able to score points to win ball games.
Do you consider any personnel changes on the interior offensive line and running back?
We got a short week. We evaluate everything and we go from there, but we'll see.
Speaking on those penalties, how are you going to eliminate those going forward?
Well, we eliminated them in practice. Got to eliminate them in the game. It takes more focus from a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint. Got to be held accountable on all counts.
You're waiting for this.
Real quick, how does one, enlighten me, JP, how does one fix penalties in practice?
Well, they have officials out there,
Okay.
and they're the coaches are supposed to be coaching them up. I will say this: that was a flag happy crew yesterday.
Yes, and historically they are.
I wasn't watching the game on TV. I don't know what they were saying. I think I saw a couple of ticky-tack holds there. Holding is killing this game in terms of the entertainment value. I know you got to call it, but the players know, in a lot of situations, those penalties are better than getting beat deep and giving up the big play, so they just do it anyway. And I also feel like they're saying, well, they're not going to call it every single play, so I'm not going to let the receiver get any separation. So you want to say they need to be calling it more because it's happening all over the field, and it seems like they're allowing it more than they ever have. So I don't know. It's kind of a mix and match at this point.
But I get that. It's just the thing is, like, people can bang on the officiating crews all you want, but how many false start penalties were there yesterday?
Lining up incorrectly, man. Like Raheem Jarrett, you come in, you're covering up a guy. Man, that's freaking high school stuff, dog. That's high school stuff. Come on. In crucial situation. And this is when your offense is struggling. And when back in the day with the greatest show on turf, they get a 5-yard penalty. Who gives a rip? They're going to get another chunk play next play. This team, like, getting a chunk play is like a freaking act of Congress. And so you're 1st and 15. That's a problem. 1st and 20, you're toast. You got no shot.
Oh yeah, I mean, and then they're living and dying by 3rd and long. They've been doing that all year. And early in the year, like, they were doing a good job of picking those up, but that's unsustainable.
Right.
It just is. And even though now, sometimes when they get it to 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, they try to run the ball and get a yard. They can't move anybody.
Can't do that. Yeah.
So they can't even do that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's hard not to come here today and just tell you, I feel like they're doomed.
Yeah, with the personnel they have now, if they don't make some changes in the personnel and be able to get their running game going, I mean, you got 3 spots on the interior that are up for grabs in my mind. 3 spots, and I put Robert Hainsey in there too. He's not. I don't know he's your center, but at this point, he's just not getting the job done. I would trade out all 3 of them because the guys behind him can't be worse. You know, they can't be worse than what you're getting, and they might be better.
Yeah, and they've been good in pass pro all year, but I thought yesterday was one of their worst games of the year from a pass pro. I know Baker still only got sacked like once or twice.
Yeah, but you get that push up the middle, even if you're not getting sacked, it's hard for Baker to see over the top, especially when the guys are getting closer to him.
I thought he had to make more of those, like, scramble plays and those efforts to duck guys and get out of the pocket more so yesterday than I think he did all year.
Agreed. Let's continue.
So you've been waiting for this running game to emerge, Todd, and the week go by and it doesn't get any better. What's your frustration level at this point?
Frustration is more on the loss at this point. I think we could have done some things in the passing game. We could have stopped them 2 minutes defensively. Could have done some things on special teams, but we got to be able to score points. We're going to have to be able to run the ball. We're going to have to be able to throw it and execute better in the red zone all the way around.
You mentioned that you told your team that don't let one loss turn into 2, but is there any concern that they allowed the loss to Detroit to kind of bleed into this one?
No, there was no concern that way. We were ready to play. We were prepared to play. We did not execute.
Coach, do you have an update on Merriweather? You left the game early with an ankle.
Not at this time, I don't.
Coach, what do you do as you approach, 4-2 Buffalo team going on the road? You are not a proponent, I know, of looking in the rearview mirror. You want to forge forth. What do you focus on in preparation for this game?
We focus on us. We made enough mistakes to even focus on us. We can't play Buffalo plus Tampa. We got to get Tampa under control before we can even handle Buffalo, so we focus on us.
Todd, was this more sloppy today than sluggish?
We were not sluggish. Penalty-wise, it was very sloppy.
Didn't want to say that
It
again.
was, lack of execution at critical times, 2 minute defensively in the red zone on offense, and we got to be better than that going forward.
Todd, can you speak about the play that Antoine Winfield Jr. made, punching the ball out, having a pass break up at the end, and certainly tried to keep you guys in the defense?
Such a baller, Antoine
It was a
Winfield
heck of a
Jr.
play, gave us a chance. If everybody plays like that, we'll be fine. Everybody
That's
just
right.
got to lock in and refocus.
Yep.
How do you evaluate your run defense today?
It was good in the first half. I don't think it was very good in the second half. I thought some people tried to make some plays and misfit some things.
What did you see on that last
Yep.
ball that Kyle Pitts?
That would be Devin White.
I know exactly what happened. We'll address it.
That's it. And I turned to the rest of the media, a couple of folks, and I'm like, Coach, this is the portion of the program where you actually answer the questions. You know what happened? Tell us. Why won't he say Ryan Neal played that poorly? He needs to be better.
What loyalty?
Was that hard to say?
Right.
I mean, my God.
And what loyalty do you have to Ryan Neal, by the way? You signed him late in the free agency process when Seattle surprisingly waived him, and 1 year, $2 million or whatever. You have no loyalty to the guy. I mean, clearly he's not getting another contract here in Tampa Bay. This is one and done.
I hope not.
And there's just why is he still out there? It makes no sense. The good teams in this league know when it's time to make personnel adjustment changes, and the bad teams, they're stuck in their ways and they continue to play that way. I mean, that's to me, it's as easy as that. And again, there's no secret why Todd Bowles is a losing head coach in this NFL for now 6 years, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
As much as I'd like to say, I disagree. I don't. Todd Bowles was an issue last year. This coaching staff as a whole, and this coaching staff as a whole is not impressing me. Against the better teams, you've got to come up with better game. Like, what was the game plan yesterday? There's one of these things that I look at in terms of coaching, and I say, what was the game plan? You can clearly see what they were attacking and why they were attacking it, right? And I look at the Falcons. Well, they were going after Devin White in the run game and the pass game. And they also, you could just see that they were predicated on, we're going to do some play action. We're going to pound them in the run game. We're going to get big chunks. And we don't even need Bijan Robinson, by the way. And we'll get Kyle Pitts involved because that's on, Devin White again and target him in that game. That worked. That's a great plan. What was the Bucs plan offensively? What did you see? What were they trying to take advantage of for most of the day?
I can't tell you any. I don't know what their objective is any game. I don't know. And we're being fed this whole thing. It's a work in progress, and we're trying to win the division, and it's week by week and this and that. But there's just no progression here. They're continuing to go backwards, and there's a lot of bright offensive minds in this league right now. And I was sort of hoping that Dave Canales would be it, but through 6 games right now, and remember he graded the offense and he said they're at like a 6.57. That's being generous. Yeah. You're not even that far along right now. You score 16 points in 2 weeks. You're not getting the job done at all. And they've scored JP the same amount of points as the New England Patriots have this year.
That's dreadful. Dreadful.
Same amount of points as the
Patriots. They were on about a 24-point clip before they ran into the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have brought their numbers down significantly. So I think it's exposed them more. And again, two really good defenses. You're going to hit the part of the schedule where the defenses aren't as good, and hopefully you better score some more points. I still think by the end of the season they'll score more than 18 a game, but we'll see. But they got to be willing. The coaching staff has to be willing to make changes, and we just haven't seen that from this staff. They've got to be willing to make some changes. If what you're doing is not working, change it. You're going to keep running up the middle with guys that just aren't moving anybody. Get the ball to the outside. Do something. Wide receiver screens.
They tried that against Detroit. They tried to run these plays outside and get a little exotic, but the tight ends can't block.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're screwed every which way in this running game. They don't have any talent back there, number one, to speak of, that can make things happen when things don't open up. And the scheme that they're trying to run, they don't have the horses up front to do it.
Right.
So at some point, you've got nothing.
And I wonder how much of it is like, Todd saying we got to run the football. We got to run the football. And Dave was like, okay, well, I'm trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. How do I do that? I mean, I don't have the horses to run the football. If you can't move anybody, then you got, again, find a different way. Go 4 wide all the time and try to run in a light box. Maybe that's a way to do it. But doing the same thing time and time and time again.
And can I put this out here
formations,
too? Can I put this out here too? And this might be thinking, I'm just thinking deeper here. Consider the sources of the two guys who are, regardless of Dave Canales, the two other, trying to think of the word right now. I'll just say it, Harold Goodwin and Joe Gilbert. Okay, they were not sacrificed on this coaching staff.
That's
they were kept. Harold Goodwin is the run game coordinator. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to think he has something to do with the running game, which was historically awful last year. He wasn't fired. He was kept on this staff again. And guess what? The run game still stinks. Joe Gilbert is the offensive line coach. The offensive line last year could not get it done from a running standpoint. He was not sacrificed. He was brought back again, and they still can't do it. So, and one of those things that I thought of, where those two guys came from? They came from the Bruce Arians offense, JP. Did the Bruce Arians offense, did it ever really, they ran the ball a little bit, but it was a passing offense. So is it possible that these two guys, whatever they're teaching, whatever they're coaching, or maybe they just don't know necessarily better than some other coordinators in this league to get the best out of these guys when it comes to a running scheme?
It's an excellent question.
I just think they're doomed everywhere from that standpoint.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Dave Archer is going to join us from Falcons Radio. We'll get his perspective as I asked him, to take a look at what he saw in the Bucs. So we won't just be talking about the Atlanta Falcons here, folks. We're going to be talking about the Falcons in terms of what they've done against other teams and what they were able to do against the Buccaneers, like what he saw. Great former quarterback in the league, really one of the best in the business at breaking it down. So I wanted to get him on today. So Dave Archer will join us next. Casey Hudson will join us in our second hour to talk some Bolts. Tough game for them on Saturday night. That was hard to watch. So we'll get into that. College football as well. Much more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Patio. Great place to watch Monday Night Football tonight. What do we got? 49ers and that game. So go watch some football at the Patio. We'll be there this weekend. Thursday night, you got the Bills and Bucs. Great place to watch it there. And then Friday night as well. So stay with us here on the JP Peterson Show.
Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my
Listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on a bitch and moan Monday for the folks here in Tampa Bay, but not for the folks in Atlanta. My former colleague and good buddy, Dave Archer, joining us here, Falcons radio analyst. What's up, Dave? How are you, my friend?
JP, good to see you yesterday. Sorry that things worked out the way they did for you guys, but it was good for us, so we got to move forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what the NFL brings, makes somebody happy on a daily basis, right? And the Falcons say you guys earned that one. That was a beatdown physically, and this Bucs team I think is pretty damn soft. And I hate to say that about NFL football players, and I don't mean it personally, just in terms of their lack of physicality as a team. I think that showed yesterday. And the more physical team wins 9 times out of 10 in this league, Dave, and that. I'll start right there as far as my analysis. What about yours?
Well, we came in, obviously, tremendous amount of respect for the interior of what Tampa brings to the table defensively. When you got Vita Vea on the inside, and you got Levante David and Devin White on that interior, that's pretty formidable. And those 3 guys have played well against Atlanta in the past. They've given us problems in the past. I think that the numbers on Levante David alone, 21 career games. I think he had 22 or 23 tackles for loss in those games. So he's been a problem in the Falcons side. So, but Atlanta did get after it physically. Got Cordero Patterson back on the field, a couple with another bruising back in Tyler Algier, and they were able to run the football very similar to if you go back to last year. Atlanta fell down 21-3 at halftime. And they got after him physically in the second half, running the football, and ultimately gave Atlanta a chance. Had it not been for that unbelievably bad call on Brady Jarrett, on the roughing the passer call on Brady, Atlanta would have had a chance potentially to steal that game down there last year. So, very similar outcome. Atlanta did everything they could do, and Tampa contributed. Obviously, Shaq Barrett knocking the ball out down there deep in their territory to get the ball out on that and the first fumble, and then really good play by Antoine Winfield to come over in his last-ditch effort to punch that ball out. Just really, opportunistic defensive plays there to thwart what was potentially going to be plays that were going to put the game away for Atlanta.
Yeah. And Dave, in terms of what Atlanta's done against other teams and been able to do that maybe just vis-a-vis what the Bucs did yesterday, what were you surprised that Atlanta was able to do yesterday, offensively and defensively against the Bucs?
Well, I think when you came in, you thought it was going to be a pretty close game. You see the numbers, and like I said, historically, this has been a team that's been pretty tough to run the ball against. But Atlanta struggled to run the football some this year. They haven't run now. They were running to the tune of about 125, 130 yards a game. I think a lot of teams would take that and run with it. But when you think that this team was number 3 in the league last year, averaging almost 160 yards a game on the ground, they had really been struggling to get that going. And they got it going yesterday. That was something that they liked to lean on. The young quarterback had a tough time with some turnovers, some his fault, some not his fault, but he had a tough time with that, and it reared its ugly head again yesterday. I don't know that I was overly surprised with anything. I think that Baker Mayfield's ability to kind of stay alive in the pocket, I'd forgotten that Baker has some of those abilities to kind of keep things, extend plays. Obviously, his run at the end of the game, I thought was going to be a backbreaker. Ultimately, Atlanta was able to get him stopped and get him off the field. But I don't think I was overly surprised by anything. I thought Evans and Godwin are brutal on the inside. They're just so hard to handle with those inside breaking routes. So I think it kind of played out the way I thought it would.
And how would you evaluate the overall play of Ritter? I know everybody's talking about the fumbles; those can't happen. But it seemed like he had a pretty good day in the passing game. Made some big throws when he needed to. Was this a step forward for him based on what we've seen from him in prior games?
Well, I think that everybody wants to point to last week's game. He threw 3 interceptions in those games, and you can break those plays down to where, the ball comes out of your hand as a quarterback. I played the position. You're responsible for it. But you could go back and look at 2 of the 3 interceptions. Probably not on the quarterback, but they come out of his hands, so that's what's going to get blamed for. Now he's going to get blamed for 3 fumbles. There's nothing he can do about Jack Barrett hitting him on the arm. The offensive tackle's got to block him.
Right.
He didn't get any of the hat on him, and Barrett comes around the corner and strips the ball out or hits his arm just before it comes forward. There's nothing to do about that. But the other fumbles certainly got to secure the ball trying to go in the end zone. And the snap on the goal line, when you get in short yardage goal line situations, you got to understand everybody's trying to get a leverage position. You got to drop your weight down. He's a 6'4" quarterback. We got a smaller center in Drew Dahlman. He's got to get down with him and ride him on the play. You got to stick with the center longer. So that's on him as well. But I thought he did some good things. From an explosive play standpoint, Atlanta had, in the first 4 games, had 18 plays of 15 yards or more. It was kind of split between run and pass. In the last 3 games, they've got 26, and they had 9 yesterday, and 7 of the 9, Ritter was directly responsible for. He had a 19-yard run as well in the game. So I think he's continued to progress all along. Everybody up here is, I guess, evaluating him against Matt Ryan, which is not fair. Matt Ryan might be a Hall of Fame quarterback, and then they harken back to what Michael Vick was able to do.
Right.
So he's being judged on a pretty high bar right now.
Dave Archer joining us here, Falcons radio analyst. The Falcons were 7 for 13 on third down yesterday, and I haven't broken down the film to see exactly what they were doing, but I can lean on you for that. The Bucs are the worst third down defense in football as of today, and a lot of that comes down to coaching, right? Isn't that where game planning comes in? Like, you save your best plays for third down. How are we going to attack them in this situation, in that situation? What did you see that the Falcons were doing to be that successful on third down?
Well, JP, I think that if you go back to what happens on first and second down, it'll reveal what's going on third down wise. If you're camped out in third, medium, third, and short, you're going to be pretty successful. Atlanta has not done that this year. They've struggled with that early on in the season. First 3 or 4 games, their first down efficiency was brutal. They've gotten better over the last couple of weeks, and it happened again in this game. They were pretty good last weekend in third down. They were really good in 2 weekends ago against Houston on third down, and it goes directly to first down success for them because they are a run dominant team. So if you're running for 3 or 4 yards, obviously it equates to some pretty good down and distance situations for the play caller. If you're getting stoned in the run game, then it's tough, and that's where it became a little bit. It's weird that Tampa is one of the better teams against the run, at least statistically, going into the game, at 4th or 5th in the league against the run, yet Atlanta was able to pound out some pretty good yardage on first down. Plus, they threw the ball on first down with some success, and that's something they hadn't done either, was to attack some of the simpler looks you're going to get on first down, some of those zone looks. Ritter was pretty good in there.
Dave Archer joining us here. Do you feel like, at least to me, the Falcons appear like they're on the come? They've got a lot of good weapons. You guys have got some decent play up front, especially on the defensive side. The defense has statistically been really good, and I kind of feel like the Bucs will not match up well against teams that are physical up front and can run the football and play pretty good defense. That's, I don't think anybody matches up against good teams like that. But I've heard people say that the Falcons are a quarterback away, or just good quarterback play away from being good. If I have to be honest right now, I'd have to pick the Falcons to win this division. Where do you think we're at?
Well, I think that the quarterback evaluation, JP, and you know how as well as I do, you've been doing this a long time, and he's going to get more scrutiny than he probably deserves. He's going to get more praise than he probably deserves. There's no question about that. But this is a kid that's played 11 games.
Yep.
He hadn't even played a full season. Okay, so we're grading him on this bar that you're putting him. You're trying to compare him to, like I said, Matt Ryan, or you're trying to compare him against, some of the younger quarterbacks in the league that have been playing. This guy hadn't played. He's still learning the game. So I think that's going to come. And I think he's explosive enough to where he can do stuff in the run game and the pass game.
Yeah.
But I think Atlanta is as good as anybody in this division. That we certainly came into I think anybody in the division, probably Carolina too. I'm sure they've kind of pumped the brakes on those thoughts, but everybody had a chance to win this division.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just a matter of getting hot, and get going. That game could have gone either way yesterday. There's a number of games each week. There were 3 teams of the 11 games, 3 teams won on the road. Atlanta happened to be one of those. Last weekend, Atlanta plays a Washington team that hasn't really done anything, got blown out on their own field by Chicago, and they lose to Washington in their building. So, boy, it's any given Sunday. Styles make fights, matchups make fights. I would not give up on Tampa. There's a lot of talent on that team, especially at the receiver core position.
Yeah.
And I think they can easily beat anybody they play.
And my question is more of a general, just on what I saw yesterday from the NFL, but it definitely happened in the Falcons-Bucs game, and that's the officiating. And we all know that it's not an easy job. I wouldn't want it.
Brutal.
But is it?
Brutal.
I'm sure you probably share this opinion. Is it ruining the game right now and making it a little hard to watch from a week-to-week basis?
Well, it certainly hurt that game yesterday. I mean, my goodness, some of the stupid calls. The holding call on Palmer in the run play, I think Bond rips off about a 15, 17-yard run. They call it back. I mean, same thing. Algier rips off about a 20-yard run, 15-yard run. They call it back. Mac Hollins, they call holding on him on the outside. That guy was throwing his flag from Sarasota. I mean, he wasn't even in the game. It was unbelievable, some of the calls they made. I mean, how many calls did Atlanta get in the secondary? They must have had 5 calls or 6 calls in the secondary. They haven't had 5 or 6 calls in their first 6 games in the secondary. So, 9 penalties for both teams yesterday, ridiculous. They slow the game down. They can't make up their mind whether it should. Let's pick the flag up. I don't know if I saw it or not. I mean, why did you throw the flag to begin with?
Exactly.
It's brutal, guys.
The discussion part of this is just reached a ridiculous level. Every call has to be debated by the actual refs that are throwing the ball. You make a call, at least stand by it, for God's sakes. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. Dave, just lastly, and this is more of a general question of the league that you've seen so far this year. It seems like offense is down, points are down. What do you contribute that to? Some people say they're allowing more holding. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think teams are trying to counteract what defenses are doing with pressure packages, and so they're putting there's a little bit smaller players on the field. Some of the defensive ends aren't the gigantic defensive ends of yesteryear. Linebackers a little smaller and can run. So people are getting after people physically. They're trying to run the football a little bit more. I think it's shortening the games. I think yesterday both teams had the ball, 10 times maybe yesterday, 11 times? Normally you're getting 13 to 14 series a game. That shortens the game. Obviously, scoring opportunities are down. I think that. But when you ask Rich McKay, who's on the competition committee, who's our CEO here in Atlanta, as you know, he says the numbers are about the same. They're like a point or 2 different than they were a year ago. So I think that maybe we're knee-jerk reaction right now, and it'll pan out at the end.
Yeah, and speaking of Rich, he's getting a lot of talk about the tush push. What a play for Philadelphia. I don't. People are going crazy about it. I don't know. They seem to be able to do it better than anybody else. Well, what are your thoughts on that play?
I'm just marveling at Jalen Hurts. They keep telling me that he's got a 600-pound squat.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, this guy can pick a car up. I don't care whether you're getting pushed from behind or not. He's going to get the first down. Should it be outlawed? Is it a scrum type play? Hey, if I get to 3rd and 1, why shouldn't I be able to push my guy for a first down? Keep him from getting to 3rd and 1. How about that?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. If they can execute it, more power to them. All right, it's always great to catch up with you guys. Congratulations on the win, and we will see you in Atlanta later on down the line. Thanks, buddy.
All right, JP. Take care, my friend.
The great Dave Archer right there. Always his analysis is so spot on, and I love getting a picture from, the other side. We're probably too harsh and too complimentary when the Bucs win. So I think it's always good to get some more objective eyes. And I think so he's really surprised at the way they were able to run the football. I wasn't because of Devin White.
I think what's going on is the Bucs have a reputation for being this great run defense and everything. And, I know the numbers suggested this year that it was about the same, but I think a lot of that is teams just don't really try to because they have that reputation. Yeah. But I think if you commit to it against this Bucs team, I think they can be had. That's what I'm saying. It's like
the physical teams can.
That's what I'm saying.
The Eagles, I knew they were going to run for a lot, maybe not 210 or whatever it was they did. But yesterday, we talked about this all week. The Falcons are going to run the football because they did it last year. They did it.
And if the Lions had David Montgomery for that full game, and they were winning that game the entire way, and they still were just throwing because they had no run game there, I think they still would have ran it down the Bucs' throat. I just feel that way. I think this Bucs defense can be had at any moment from any team in the league. And I know that's what I'm saying. That's the crazy thing about the numbers. I just went and looked at it. They've only given up 104 points this year, which is the fourth least in the NFL. The only teams that have given up fewer are San Francisco, Baltimore, and Dallas, who people will typically tell you were probably 3 of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. The Bucs are number 4 in that statistic.
Because their red zone defense has been so good, and sometimes that can be an outlier.
Right, but I just feel like I still think they're posers. I just feel that way. I think they can be had at any moment, and I just don't think the statistics tell the whole story in this standpoint.
Yeah, as James says, yesterday, they gave up 260 passing and 160 rushing. Over 400 yards. That is not good defense. No, and Desmond Ridder is not Patrick Mahomes. He missed some guys yesterday, and they missed. They were 1 for 5 in the red zone. The Eagles were the same, if I'm not mistaken. So both of those games where you felt like these teams were just running at will and doing whatever they wanted, they didn't get the points because, yesterday what happened? Well, Winfield makes an unbelievable play at the goal line. I mean, my God, what, are you gonna hang your hat on that every week? Made another great play breaking up a pass in the end zone as well.
He almost did it against Drake London.
Yeah,
the same exact play. They almost called it a touchback if the ball would have hit the pylon.
Yes. Yeah, and that, and then Desmond Ridder fumbles the ball, fumbles the exchange.
Right.
So is that, and that's not a caused turnover. That's on, that's not something that the Bucs forced.
Right.
So that happened. What else happened in the red zone? They had 3, and then the Shaq Barrett. That was a caused. That was a caused fumble. Not necessarily on Ridder because the guy coming off the edge.
Yeah,
so,
and by the way, to the point about this, and I don't know how much this would have mattered. I mean, well, then again, it was the only Falcons touchdown of the game, so I guess it did. But the first drive of the game for the Bucs, what was it, 4th and 6? It was for the Bucs at like their own, or at the Atlanta 40-something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was too long for a field goal.
Right.
And Todd Bowles goes for it on 4th and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just curious because it didn't work out whatsoever. The defense got shredded the entire way down the field on a short field, and the Falcons got out in front early, and that was their only touchdown in the game. And I just can't help. It's like, we want Todd Bowles to be aggressive, and it's just he doesn't go for it on 4th and 2 the week prior, but he'll go for it on 4th and 6 in the first quarter on the first possession of the game at a spot of the field where it's iffy. You have a really good punter that you think in all likelihood is going to down them back there and make them go 90 yards at least. And I don't know. I mean, it was the only touchdown they scored.
Anytime you're on the plus side of the field, I feel like you should be going for it.
Even on 4th and 6, though?
Yeah, because here's the thing. This is where game planning comes in. This is where good coaching comes in. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 6, what's your play? Let me see your play. What do you got going? I got to go down and break down exactly what that play is because with the naked eye, I couldn't really tell what they were trying to do.
They got pressure off the edge from Jesse Bates, and that blew up any chance they had.
Yeah, exactly. So it gets down to coaching. You better have a good play ready to go and that is going to work in that situation, and it didn't look like they did. And they brought pressure, so maybe they saw something.
I'm just pointing it out because it was the only touchdown they scored, and if let's say your punter, who looks like the best punter in football right now, does his job and downs them there at the end and makes them go 90 yards instead of 40 or whatever it was.
Yeah, but
you never know. Maybe that could be a little difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know there's a lot of plays. I know there's a lot of plays out there they left, but I don't know. 4th and 6 with this offense in particular, you're trusting them to get a first down on that? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going for it there. I'm not giving up because, so often, within the ball goes into the end zone. Now you just gave up a possession for 20 yards of field position. That's awful. You cannot do that. And early in the game, you set the tone, get the crowd into the game. I don't hate it. You got to, we want it so often, and we do this, and I thought coaching is a huge part of it. I get it. So often, blame these choices and these coaches. When it comes, so much of it just comes down to making plays. Now I got to go look at the play, but look, there's an answer. If the pressure comes off the edge, it opens up a spot where you should be able to throw the ball hot and get a 4th and 6 conversion there. Who didn't make the read? Who didn't execute on that particular play? That's what I want to know. But we always want to, it's 6 yards. It's not that hard to do. Go and you should have one play. This is part of the coaching part of it. You should have that play ready to go. Whatever it is, take advantage of a weakness on that defense that you see. And
where, JP, is the slant?
Yeah.
Where? It's the easiest play in football.
Receivers.
I see a lot of teams able to execute it very easily. In fact, the Bucs did it twice yesterday with Mike Evans, who typically doesn't run that route, but he got great separation off the line, and he picked up 2 first down on slants in that game. I mean, again, I'm armchair quarterbacking this to death right now. I understand it, but I just, to me, that was not something I would have done in that moment. Not that early in the game.
Yeah, some other reactions here. Scott Valdez says, look at the completion percentage allowed for the last few seasons. It's pathetic. It is. I mean, Desmond Ridder goes 19 of 25. I mean, that's just too easy. And so many of the throws are just so easy. I saw Jamel Dean 12 yards off a guy. I don't even know who it was. Maybe it was Drake London. They're 12 yards off a guy. And he turns around and takes an 8-yard hook, breaks a tackle. And it's like, that's so freaking easy.
And why is he being asked to play that way?
Yes, exactly.
These are not their strengths.
I know. He's not a zone corner. What are we doing?
They don't have any zone corners on this team.
Yeah. But yet we're playing a lot of it. James says when Carlton Davis gave up the long, wasn't a touchdown, but he didn't even try to make a play on the ball, and he was right there step for step with Scotty Miller. Bowles' defense hasn't been good since Super Bowl evening. That's it. This D is a fraud. Hard to argue that sometimes. Will Martinez, thanks for jumping in. Bowles' stubbornness will be his downfall. Neal has no business being out there, and yet Bowles doesn't hold anyone accountable for his post-game presser. Zone coverage needs to be better too. I totally agree, man. It's like, why is it so hard to just call somebody out when it's so obvious? And we've had so many obvious times, like, Devin White, and so many obvious plays that everybody can see on tape, but yet this coaching staff just refuses to say anything. It makes the fan base lose confidence in you guys.
Yes.
You may think you're protecting your players. You're not protecting anybody. You're making yourself look soft as a coach, super soft.
Yes, Chris, I do.
What's that?
He said, "Do you miss BA yet?"
Yes,
I've missed BA from the moment it was over.
Yeah. Whose fault was that, Mr. Tom Brady jersey wearer?
Get out of here, Mr. Baker Mayfield's going to play this offense better than Tom Brady. Get out of here.
Hey, well,
Tom Brady wins that football game yesterday. I got news for you.
I would agree with you. I would agree. Will Martinez says the interior line stinks at run block. The tight ends can't block to save their lives. Also, Rashad White has no vision and consistently runs into his linemen. Yeah, his vision is just
he's a backup running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I've seen 20+ games. That's who he is.
James making his point many times in the comments today that we have no talent at running back. So true. Bowles is handed a head coaching job and has blown that opportunity. The experiment is over. Hard to argue. Although at 3-1, we were all happy, right?
But here's the thing. They're still in the division. They might go out and win the division still.
Yep.
The schedule lightens up, after Buffalo. I think some of these teams, the Texans is not going to be an easy game as we might have thought at the beginning of the year. Indianapolis is very scrappy. That's not going to be easy like we thought it was. So, but it's still, compared to playing teams like the Eagles and the Lions, there's going to be some games there where you're going to have chances to win. So, and it's a race as far as I'm concerned to get to 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's a race to get to 8 or 9, but it doesn't matter. The Bucs and neither of these teams in the division are winning a playoff game. It ain't happening.
I have a sneaky suspicion the Falcons are going to go on a run. Maybe they just made the Bucs look terrible yesterday, but I think Bijan Robinson is going to get better. I think Desmond Ridder's going to get better. And
I mean, they're in every game.
Yeah, I think their coaching is holding them back as well. KW4 says when Baker tried to throw the ball in the end zone to God, when White was wide open 5 yards from going in for I know, but Godwin didn't catch because the Falcons defensively. Bowles needs to go. Well, Baker's making bad reads. How is that Todd Bowles?
Todd Bowles has zip to do with the offense.
Yeah. Scott Valdez agrees with you. They should have punted on 4th and 6. I hate punting on the 40-yard line though. I would. It should again. The horrible
JP. They can't get a yard on 3rd and 1, and you want them to go for it on 4th and 6.
I mean, if you don't have a play for 4th and 6,
they don't have a play 40, for 3rd and 1.
Well, 3rd and 1, short yardage. You're trying to move people. I get it. Although I would, I would, if I'm the Bucs, I'd go play action on that every time on 3rd and 1. But if 4th and 6, you should have a play. You got to have a play. If you don't have a play on 4th and 6 that early in the game that you haven't used yet, that you worked on all week long, that this linebacker is weak on backside coverage, or this corner gives up the slants too easy, or this route tree is going to work great on. We're going to pick on this safety. We've got this. You got to have something at that point where you see something on tape that you can take advantage of, and clearly we don't.
Well,
so maybe you're right.
Everything's just difficult. It all is difficult right now.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk some hockey. How about that? I like that.
That makes me feel a lot better. Jeez, Tampa Bay's reverting right back to what it used to be.
I know this is true.
We're going right back to what we used to be.
Devin Garnett, our friend Devin, said the other day on Twitter. He goes, "I think the cycle has turned. Our Tampa Bay days are over, and we're going back to being a mediocre sports town."
Yeah.
And our the fans yesterday, where were you?
I told you they were selling their tickets, JP. I told you nobody wants to go to the game.
Awful.
Nobody wanted to go to the game.
All right, we are brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get your insurance checked out, folks. They represent dozens and dozens of companies. They can shop your insurance around and find you the best rates, so go ahead and do that when you get a chance. 813-877-7799. That's Italiano Insurance. And don't forget the patio, great place to watch Monday Night Football. Head on out there tonight. Best happy hour in town, 3 to 7:30, $1 off beer and wine. And we'll be out there Thursday night for Bills and Buccaneers. And when they got a Halloween party on Friday night as well at the patio, that's going to be fun. So head on down to the patio where everybody meets, 421 South McDill, under the stars and the palm trees at the patio. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Bitch and Moan Monday for the Buccaneers anyway. I guess we could say the same for your Tampa Bay Lightning, who fell 4-3 to Toronto on Saturday night in overtime. Where have we seen this movie before? We welcome in our good friend Casey Hudson, who covers the Bolts in the NHL. What's up, Casey? I know you were smart yesterday, and much smarter than many of us, because you said, I'm going to go golfing in this wonderful weather instead of sitting and watching the Bucs game. You're way more intelligent than many of us. How are you?
I'm fabulous, especially because I made a really good decision yesterday. Myself, we called Mangroves Bay and we're like, please tell us you have an open slot. And they're like, we'll get you in there for 3:00. So we went hitting
nice.
2-3 and then got 17 out of 18 holes yesterday. So I'm fabulous.
Not too bad. And the weather was great for golf yesterday. Was good for football too, but let's go back to Saturday night and talk a little bit about the Lightning. And, you know, it was April 29th of this year that John Tavares ended the Bolts season with an overtime goal. And now the Bolts have not only lost 4 in a row to the Maple Leafs in overtime, they've lost 9 of their last 10 overtime games. They are just not figuring this out. What's going on with the Bolts in OT, especially when it involves the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that used to be a strong point for this team. You didn't want to overtime with the Lightning. Yeah. Now, I'm sure it's a sweet spot for teams to try to attack, but John Cooper just kind of alluded to the fact that there might just not be the right mix of guys out there when it comes to overtime. Everyone, interestingly enough, saw different things when it came to the game-winning goal for Toronto on Saturday. I will say from my personal perspective, I think some of it's careless passing. I've heard John Cooper consistently in practice when he has the guys working on three specifically, you know, screaming at them, get it on the effing tape. And we saw, at least I personally saw, some just like really kind of careless passes. I think Brandon Hagel kind of like threw the puck back before looking up and realizing he was throwing into 3 Toronto sweaters. A lot of people try to blame Sergei, but he wasn't even on the ice, you know? So it's just kind of carelessness versus a team that creates rushes very consistently. The rush pressure from Toronto is something that's really keeping this team in a very uncomfortable position.
And they're giving up, you know, second most goals against, I think, in the league right now, behind only Carolina. And I think the national narrative is going to tell you, oh, they missed Vazzy. And I think if we're watching the games, I think Jonas Johansson is actually keeping them in some of these games, if we're being completely fair. So when it comes to some of these issues in front of him, do you think this is a personnel thing, or is this ironing out the kinks of this new defensive system?
I think it's a new personnel thing. I want to blame the defense as much as possible, but it's not entirely that. I think we did kind of see where certain guys are a better fit. Missing DeHaan, I think, was kind of painful because while Zach Bogosian actually plays well versus Toronto, he doesn't have the pace to, pivot and turn around on a dime. He had a great stop in correlation with Johansson to stop an odd man rush, but I mean, that was one of how many that happened that night. So I think that it's not entirely on the defense. When you're looking at the giveaways throughout the game, I mean, Nikita Kucherov is leading the team in giveaways right now. Then you follow that up with Nick Paul. Then you follow that up with defensemen Perbix and Hedman. So when it's kind of careless in front of you, you're putting the defensemen in a tough position that are already kind of trying to gel. So I just think it's an across the board thing. It's those turnovers. It's the timeliness and like the where those turnovers are happening. They're always in such a lethal positioning on the ice. But it's so unfair to Johansson because, to get this job and to have so many people already doubt you before you even get a chance to show what you can do and then to do as well as he's doing. I mean, he's eliminating almost 96% of high danger shots that are coming at him. You're getting your that's a major thing when you think about how much puck luck plays a role in a team's success as well. So for him to be managing that at such a high capacity, the rest of the team has to come together and play clean and play smarter. It's smarts.
I couldn't agree more. Especially late in that third period, you have a 3-1 lead with 8 minutes to play. And how are you giving up 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s? I mean, that's just inexcusable. And to continue to give up these high danger chances in those situations, of all situations. I mean, if you're even or you're behind, I can understand it. But you're as John Cooper says, you're up 3-1. You don't need another goal. You need to keep the freaking puck out of your net. So that's just maddening. And one of the things that I watch a lot of the games with Bobby the Chief Taylor and Brian Engblom's my partner in the post game show, and they both are mystified by this. Max Domi goes from blue line to blue line and nobody, and I mean nobody, even at the blue line, one of the defensemen, there's nobody behind you and you just keep backing up. At what point do you stop allowing time and space and challenge? Is this part of their defensive scheme that they just keep backing up and staying in front, positionally stay in front instead of attacking the guy with the puck? I mean, what the hell?
I think it's almost like I don't want to call it a nerve thing because these guys are better than that, but I feel like you only give so much time and space when you're trying to eliminate getting beat one-on-one, when you're trying to eliminate somebody using their speed and skill set against you. But playing like that in a league that just only got faster and more talented is only going to continue to hinder and hurt this team. And Max Domi, out of all people to do it, no disrespect against him, but the narrative of Domi.
Connor McDavid coming at you.
Yeah, exactly. Like they treated that like that was one of the top elite. Like this team was questioning the signing of Domi, heading into this game. I interviewed a few people from Toronto just to kind of get their grasp of everything so I can have more of a realistic measure. And they were so unpleased with a lot of things. They weren't very happy with what Ryan Reeves is doing. He's just fighting. He's not contributing offensively. Domi wasn't, sparkling much. So there was a lot of things that I thought swung in favor for the Lightning to win. Toronto was having just as many giveaway issues. They had not much of a forecheck game, if any. Like this was so winnable for them. It's just the small details of allowing speed and certain things to work against you when this team is supposed to be getting faster and all these other elements that should have helped them step up. So I just have to think it's a gelling thing. I really firmly stand by the fact that Tyler Mott getting out as early as he has is hurting this team because now you're putting guys who should be helping setting up scoring chances in more of a defensive offensive position versus, what they need to do, what they came to do. Some people are questioning Connor Sheary. You can't question him. The minute that Mott went out, he went down to the bottom six where he needs more time to gel with the top six.
And I guess the one thing we could say, the bright spot, is the play of Nikita Kucherov offensively. You mentioned the giveaways, but offensively, he continues to be their best player night in and night out. I think 3 more points there, all in the first period against Toronto. He's starting to shoot a little bit more. Are you noticing a change there with him, at least from his goal scoring? It looks like a guy that's primed. He could score 50 like we saw with Braden Point last year.
Yeah, this is a guy that we want to keep healthy for sure. 3 points in the first period. I think he joined records with Marty St. Louis, which at this rate, between him and Stamkos and Braden Point, who's not hanging out with Louis. But I will say this, he kind of found the same sweet spot that Steven Stamkos had. His is setting up shop in that top right circle, and he's just unstoppable there. His vision and the shots that he's getting off, he's getting off passes that are hard to stop. So I love that. I hope he can continue to build off of that, because that was a hard place for people to stop Steven Stamkos, left circle more so, but it was a hard thing for them to slow down right out the gate. So I think Cooch just kind of found his office there and can continue to build off of that. But if you get the right guy on the left side of Braden Point, then you're going to finally get Braden Point in the scoring column, and then Nikita Kucherov can just continue to rip it from there. But figuring out who's going to solidify that left wing spot is going to be important. ABB's doing pretty well. I just don't know how much that's going to last once they start getting into the big portions of the season.
Casey Hudson joining us. She is the NHL host on Believe Network, also covers the Lightning for Odyssey Sports. You mentioned ABB. He finally got on the score sheet the other day, and that was kind of a gimme from Cooch. I'm like, and he struggled to put the puck into the net at the NHL level. I'm like, oof, man, I'm glad that one went in, because if that one didn't go in, he'd really be pressing on the sawdust there. So good to see it, but can he sustain it? Does he skate well enough to play at the NHL level? What's your take on Alex Barré-Boulet?
Barré-Boulet, I've seen more good than bad. I think sometimes the pace does kind of get to him. You kind of see him a few steps behind Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point. Now, granted, that might not be against him specifically, because Point and Kucherov are so in sync. Yeah. But you also see a guy like Brandon Hagel that can do it, and obviously Stammer. So I was really high on Connor Sheary being on that top line just because of the statistics and the numbers that he pulled over from playing with the Capitals and the Penguins. Mm-hmm. I know that they may or may not have time to let that roll out even more, but I think if Tyler Mott gets back in and gets healthy, I really like Watson. I kind of want to see more out of him in this lineup. So if Mott comes back, if Watson gets more opportunity, I think ABB kind of ends up taking a step back. But if he can continue to execute off passes from Kucherov, who had 80+ assists last season, then I'll make a case for him to stay in it. I just think he's still kind of a pace or two behind.
And when you look around the rest of the league, just a general question here, I think we were all expecting Boston to take a step back, and here they are, 5-0, undefeated, top of the league still. They just keep on moving. Yeah. But what are some of the teams you think have surprised you with their start? I think the Detroit comes to mind, 5-1. The Yzer plan looks like it's working. Larkin, DeBrincat. Would that be your surprising start of the team, or what's the team that's caught your eye so far?
I don't know if I'll say surprise, because Nick and JP, the amount of heat I caught this summer for saying that the Red Wings are going to be actual contenders, wow. My head got bitten off, because their defense, and they were only posting about 2.6 goals per game and all this other garbage, but they brought in scorers. JT Compher was a leader over with the Avalanche. He was one of those guys that do just enough, but his puck distribution is going to help set up young talent with the Red Wings. And then, of course, DeBrincat, he's a maniac. He was the second top power play guy for the Senators, a Senators team that had a quality power play last year. So I feel like they just did the right moves. Shane Gostivere has been effective right out the gate for this team, helping set up that defense properly. And Seider was tremendous last year, but he was doing it all on his own. And we know defensemen can't do, all the work on their own. So I think they got the right units in place. They're putting up a lot of goals now. They're keeping their net pretty clean. I want to be high on the Senators, but I'm still just kind of iffy about them. So my biggest surprise would be the Red Wings playing very well, playing successfully. I would also want to jump on the bandwagon of Vegas, because they maintained the quality pieces of their roster, which is crucial. And then the Hurricanes, they're still stacked defensively, doing very well there, but the amount of goals that they're letting up, they can be their own Achilles come the end of the season again. So they're kind of a too early to tell sweet story, if you want to say that. But the Red Wings are my top team.
And speaking of the Hurricanes, they'll be here tomorrow night. They just got smoked by Colorado the other night. What's your take on this game? Obviously, the Bolts got to make some hay here at home, right? They've got a 5-game homestand. They've got to max out on points, and right now you got Carolina coming in. That's always a tough game for them. They don't, in the past, have not matched up really well with Carolina. How do you see this one?
Yeah, this is going to be a big test for, if the guys can translate what Coach Cooper's probably going to punish them with at practice as we speak. So that hopefully sometimes after great practices is where you see this team finally start to take off. You're talking about a team letting up 5 goals. That's huge. That's about a goal and a half more than the Bolts are letting up, but they're also putting up 4.5 goals versus I think we're at like 3, a little over 3 goals.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will say is that they can capitalize, and I feel like I jinxed this last time, they can capitalize off the giveaways that the Canes are doing because they're having some messy turnovers in their own zones as well. I mean, between Burns, like their top defensemen are giving up the puck, which means they're going to be in prime position to get some goals off of those mistakes. I think that it's going to be another fast-paced game that they're going to have to be able to manage, and if they don't manage it, then we're going to be seeing something a little bit more punishing than what Toronto did on Saturday. So puck management is going to be crucial. Excuse me. Obviously, my talking. Their passing has to be on point with this team. There's way too much speed between Jarvis. Kotkaniemi is just kind of blossoming so perfectly for this team in this system right now. Natchez, and then Michael Bunting, I think, was one of the best acquisitions they got for their system. So this can either be a really ugly game or a great test for the Bolts to finally take a step in the right direction.
Yeah, if Carolina finds some scoring, eventually they'll get the defense right. They're going to be a tough team, no question. All right, Casey, been to any good concerts lately?
Oh, I haven't been in a minute, but Chris Stapleton is coming, and I'm hounding for tickets. And he's playing with her, who he did the national anthem with, so I think that'll be a bit of a rip.
Yeah, that's is it the Monday Night Football song he's doing?
Yeah,
with Snoop Dogg.
With Snoop, yeah. A lot of people didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like it.
I think it's great. I do.
You get a thumbs up on that one.
Just get rid of the Aloe Black doing the all night long or whatever. I need that to go away.
Yeah. There were some
like
first pieces to it. If they revamp it a little bit, I think it'll take off a little more. But yeah, I mean, I just love Stapleton. But that's the concert coming up on my radar. I haven't been to a concert in a minute, which is just
I know.
I don't know how anybody can go. The ticket prices for every concert
crazy?
are outrageous.
When did this happen?
Nosebleeds. I have no idea.
When did going to a concert have to take out a second mortgage for these tickets? I just picked up a couple of tickets to the Billy Joel Sting, which I don't know. You might be interested in that one. I don't know, Casey, but those are going for $269 a pop. I mean that's a lot of money. Like Taylor, I think that's Taylor Swift level.
Oh my gosh. No,
it's like a third of Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Taylor
Well, I'm
Swift
talking about face.
Your house,
face.
your car, and a whole bunch of that. I think it's because, have you guys realized how much more concerts get canceled now and tours are put off? Like Live Nation and everyone else is losing so much money in that. So when they get things back on track, I think the interest rate
is that what it is? You think that's what it is? Because they have to eat all the cost on that stuff when that happens. Oh.
Yeah. My mom has had some big battles with Live Nation for her job. So
I think that's the other problem is, these are all like monopolies now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only like 2 or 3, if 2 or 3, there may be Live Nation owns just about every freaking concert venue, right?
Yep.
And so when did we allow monopolies in this country? When did that happen? Like so much crap has happened, but that's when they Ticketmaster and Live Nation, like they own everything, so they can charge whatever the hell they want, I guess, right?
Yep.
Ridiculous.
And now you really can't trust like scalping anymore because of like the dupes and AI and all these things that can be generated, and you have no idea if you're even going to get in after giving somebody all your money on the street. So
yeah, so then you have to get it from Ticketmaster, right? Because you can't, back in the day you could, scalpers had printed tickets. Remember that? You could like get printed tickets. Wow, and then get into a concert. Yeah, not anymore. That's
last printed ticket I have is Blink-182. It's hanging on my wall.
Yeah, God, I have a bunch of them, but no more. That's the other thing. You don't even have a memento of a printed ticket. I guess you can go online now, and if you can print out your digital ticket, but whatever.
So ugly.
Yeah, I want something torn in half, right?
Yeah,
so proves that you went
the
there.
Ends bend a little bit. Looks vintage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
All right, we appreciate you're going to jump on with us every Monday at 11:15, so we look forward to that, and we will see you at the rink tomorrow night and chat with you next Monday. Thanks.
See you tomorrow, guys.
All right, Casey Hudson there, and you can find her on Twitter on the X machine at the Sports Case, I believe it is. Just want to make sure that the Sports Case KASE. You can find her there and on the Believe Network and on Odyssey Sports and at BetQ Lab. She's doing sports betting as well. Should have got some props from her. Yesterday, my props in the Bucs game were 5-2. And the two that I lost, both Bijan Robinson related. Like mofo. Like that's so. And I started him in my fantasy team. I haven't even looked at my score on my fantasy team. That's how bad it is.
Oh,
like, I don't even want to look how bad it is.
I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth because I faced a team that had Bijan and Deshaun Watson, and I won by 15 points. And if Bijan plays and Deshaun plays, I'm a loser. But I'm a winner.
In this day and age, how can a coach and I should have asked Arch about this too, but I asked him after the game and they said he was just ill. And then some people were saying, talked to Finneran and a couple others of my Atlanta radio folks, and they were like, well, they have been saying that they've overused him early on in the season. And with Peterson coming back.
Overused? He's in a committee.
Yeah.
They haven't used him enough.
Cordero Patterson coming back and who's always, typically run well against the Bucs. Maybe they were just looking for two guys that were more because they knew they could bully the Bucs. So give Bijan a break and use the two more physical backs to run people over, which is exactly what they did. It's not like they needed him yesterday.
Listen, Algier ran for 1,000 yards as a rookie last year. And by the way, the Bucs took Rachaad White over him.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're not going to play the dude, inactivate him, right?
You would think he would have been on the report, illness or something.
He stood over there with his helmet on.
He was in a couple plays. He was in there on the last drive of the game, ironically. You got to run up the middle.
One carry. Yeah. Yeah. So I was 5-2. I had Baker over 33 attempts because I knew they couldn't run the football and they were going to have to throw. Baker over 215. Godwin over 56 yards. What else did I have for this? Rachaad White under 14 carries, under 13 and a half. It actually went down to. He had 13 carries. And I'm like, do not. They were down at the, and there was 3rd and goal. I'm like, do not hand the ball off. Dave Canales, I will kill you. It's there. You're at the 8-yard line. If you they actually handed it to him on 1st down, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm like, are you effing kidding me?
Of course they did.
That was the 13th carry. I'm like, I'm at 13 and a half. Don't you dare. Don't you? And if they go into overtime, he's probably going to get a carry. So, and I also I had the Bucs minus 2.5 to win the game. Unfortunately, which of course they had every opportunity. They throw it to him in the flat. He probably scores. And isn't it crazy if that happens? The narrative just completely changes, right?
Yeah, but
you're sitting there at 4-2. And it's like, the offense is bad. It's not great, but it's getting the job done. Defense is playing well enough. It's so crazy. Just one play, how the narrative would change. If Baker looks to his left and throws it to Rachaad White, he gets in, and of course you got to hold. You got to hold the Falcons for 45 seconds.
If the Bucs improved their running game by, 30%, which I don't think is asking a lot, 20-30%, if they improve their running game by that and they got a little bit better of quarterback play, the Bucs could be sitting here 5-1.
Yeah.
But now you're 3-3 and you're staring down 3-4 and 3 straight losses coming out of the bye week, which, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bucs,
you're supposed to win out of the bye week. I think Bowles is now 3-8. In teams he coordinates or as head coach.
That's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, last year they get destroyed by Cleveland.
And remember last year they started out 2-0. They started out 2-0 last year, just like this team did here. Mm-hmm. And then it's a completely different team after that.
Yeah, because guess what? Teams start to get tape on you and you have to adjust. He doesn't do that very well. That's why, losing coaches in this league, if you got a record as long as Todd Bowles does, it's not suddenly going to turn around. It's not suddenly going to turn. And then you have to ask yourself, if the Bucs were in the market for a head coach last year and they did a coaching search, do you think they would have come up on Todd Bowles? Probably not. Probably not. No. Just because, defensive coaches aren't getting jobs. So, but that guy whose jersey you're wearing today was running the team. So he chose the head coach. So there you go. And that's why we're sitting here. And again, love me some Todd Bowles as a human. Great dude. But he's just not, a lot of it just keeps coming back to him. And that's the way the NFL works.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The reality is, like I said, they're still in the division.
Yes.
It's still very doable for them to get 8 or 9 wins and be there. And if they, let's say they go 8-9 again, or they go 9-8 and win the division and host a playoff game, it's like you almost like you're obligated. Like you shouldn't be, but you're almost obligated to have to keep Todd Bowles at that point. Because think about it, how many division titles has this team won historically? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often. And if Todd Bowles, right, it doesn't happen often. If Todd Bowles wins it 2 times in a row, even with winning 8 games or 9 games, crappy division and whatnot, it's gonna be very hard to just turn around and go, well, we're moving on. Like that's just the reality of it. So, is his seat that hot? I think they'd have to win like 6 games, realistically. For that to happen.
TJC22. Have you seen this report, Nick? Where did you see this TJC?
He's just playing a.
Are you just playing? You just like he was vaping. It seemed like he did something wrong, right? It seemed like he did, like he was getting punished.
I like to think Arthur Smith is not that stupid, for lack of a better term.
Like he did something wrong, and if they needed him, they wanted him available. But if they didn't have to use him, they wanted to just make a point. Well, can you give me my money back then, please? Otten was one-on-one to the sideline. He read him as a good matchup because he wasn't expecting the safety to be there. Yeah, I wasn't expecting the safety to be there anyway, but he was there. And he was there early. It's not like, he came in late. That's a bad throw. It's a bad read.
And I thought I watched one of the angles. It looked like he stared him down the entire way.
Yeah. At some point, if it's one-on-one, and the defender has his back to you, even though, and Otten's not separating from anybody. Let's just be honest about that.
Right.
So, the check down was there all day long.
Well, I think we've pretty much said what we could say about the Bucs. So why don't we got to take one more break.
Yep.
And then let's come back and let's dive into the team I know you're dying to talk about. I was there.
Oh, that's right. You were there.
I was there, so I got some thoughts. It was a crazy weekend in college football, so definitely want to devote some time to that.
Yeah, let's do it. Quick break. We've beaten this dead horse, so let's do some college football. When we come back, we're brought to you by The Patio. Great place to watch college football. Great place to watch the game tonight. So go watch the Monday Night Football at The Patio. $1 off beer and wine from 3 to 7:30. So enjoy the happy hour of the already low prices that they have there. Great place to watch games under the stars, under the palm trees, the great outside area there at The Patio, and it's a perfect time to do it. Great staff, great folks over there. So please, when you go in there, tell them JP sent you, and maybe they'll give you something free, or maybe, I don't know. We'll give you a free T-shirt if you show up on Thursday night. We'll be there Thursday night. Anyway, quick break. Back in 3. All fall is here. The holidays are coming, and the Golden Diamond Source will be your trusted jewelry destination, as they have been for the past 4 decades. Yes, the Golden Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to spend any extra time waiting for them to have to bring something in or order something. Everything is in-house. And if you want to get shopping before the holidays, you can get low financing, start early, for up to 5 years. Looking for a pre-owned Rolex or one of those baller watches? They have a huge selection at the Golden Diamond Source, so go check those out as well. And of course, we always say keep it local. Great philanthropists, Julie and Steve Weintraub. Love those folks. Do so much for the community. So if you got to shop for jewelry, why not shop at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595 or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Always a good time to be shopping there at the Golden Diamond Source. Holidays are coming up, folks, so get on over to the Golden Diamond Source. They have the biggest selection. It is a jewelry superstore. Some of the other places, they have to order you things or send it out to get fixed or made. Nope, they do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source. And by the way, if you got any old gold jewelry or gold coins, silver coins, any of that stuff, silver flatware, they will take that as well. Silver prices going up. So go cash in right now. Get your money. Get some cash money for silver at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3400 Olmerton Road, just over the bridge there, if you're heading over from Tampa. All right, so what was the atmosphere like at Doak Campbell? I've heard from many folks that it was like an old Seminole Saturday night. It was a packed house, and it was on.
It just felt like big-time college football.
Nice.
That's the best compliment I can give it, honestly. Like the atmosphere, the entire day I was there. We got in early so I could spend the day appropriately. I mean, it's so cool. You go around everywhere, and I was driving around Tallahassee, and everywhere we went, I mean, everybody's wearing their Florida State gear. Everybody's buying Florida State gear like crazy the day of, and then the tailgates are crazy. College Town is popping. I mean, I told Casey, she's wearing her Duke garb. I'm like, you're the only one wearing blue in this city right now. You're the only one, and I'm having to walk next to you right now, and people are giving me weird looks and everything. But no,
she was feeling good most of the game.
Yeah, she was. She had this little smirk on her face the entire game. But from the beginning presentation, they had the head of the Seminole tribe. I'm not sure if they showed it on TV. He planted the spear at the beginning, which was really cool. The fireworks show at the end after they win. You know, this was all new to me, so. Big-time college football feel, and they landed big recruits because of it and obviously won the game. So, great trip.
Yeah, I'll be heading up for the Miami game. Cannot wait for that. Cullen's coming in, so my father and son will continue our tradition of seeing one big FSU game. Usually we go to a road game, but now that he lives in Chicago, they're all road games. So No better place to go to a game than Tally. So it'll be super fun. Ashley's going. It's going to be a great weekend. I cannot wait for that. The weather's going to be nice and cool. Hopefully, God, if that's a noon game, I swear to God, I'll be so pissed off.
For which game? The Miami one?
Miami game. We should know next week game time. It's got
Miami beating Clemson helped them a lot.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Yeah. And Miami, that was a big win for them. They showed some physicality too. I was surprised. Watch a little bit of that game, and they dominated the overtime, dominated the second half, really came back and won that game. So with a freshman quarterback, TVD was down. So that young quarterback played really well in the second half. But bring that mess to Tallahassee, boys, and we got something for you. Ain't no doubt about that.
And I tell you what, I mean, I know you were at the Lightning game, so I'm not sure how your viewing situation was.
I watched a little bit of it while I was at the game on my phone, and then watched the whole thing when I got home. I couldn't wait. I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was like 4:00 in the morning. I'm like, I'm just going to go watch the replay.
And you can read this comment here from James, because this sums it up really well.
So Jordan Travis knew he had to run Saturday night or Knowles would have lost. He took command and including taking the ball out of Benson's belly and ran for 97-yard drive. He ran 4 times for 40. Jordan won the game for the Knowles. Yes, he did. He was fantastic. He also put him in a big hole. That pick six was a rookie mistake. You just cannot make that throw into traffic from your own goal line, man. You just can't. He was late. It wasn't quite over the middle, but it was interior. Too many guys around the receiver. You just can't put the ball. And Teofili's just sitting there in the flat, wide open. May not have gotten the first down, but you just, you punt the ball there. You do not throw into traffic. Turns into a pick six, and they're in a 17-7 hole.
Yeah, he didn't have the greatest game, I think, throwing the football, especially in the first half. And you're watching it in the stands, and you can kind of see it. And I was sitting in row 70 or something, so I was high enough to where I could kind of see plays develop and things. And at least from my vantage point, I'm like, man, if he just like James said, take it out of the belly of Benson, there's a lot of space there for Jordan Travis to make plays with his feet, and he hasn't really been doing it much this year. I have to think a lot of it has to do with injury, or they're telling him out to do that to protect himself. I don't know. But Jordan Travis in that second half, specifically the fourth quarter, when he started pulling it and running, and I mean, that's his best attribute. He's a good thrower of the football, don't get me wrong, but he's a much better runner. That's where you see the Florida State offense is really, really dangerous, and they look like one of the best teams in the nation, is when he's pulling it and he's running the football. It just changes so much of what they can do, so I couldn't agree more. Jordan Travis changed that game. And give love to the defense as well, because, I mean, Duke came in with a game plan of we're going to run the football, right? Riley Leonard, we didn't know if he was going to play. He was out there. I mean, he doesn't impress me much as a thrower.
He shouldn't have been playing.
He probably shouldn't have been playing.
He couldn't plan on his back foot.
Right. Yeah. He probably shouldn't have played that game. But then when I saw Beeline in there, I think it probably would have been like a 40-point beatdown, because Beeline was giving you nothing.
Yeah.
He looked overwhelmed when he got in there.
I think the coaches have told Jordan to just cool it on the running early on in the season, because they know without him they got no shot at winning the national championship. So they got to keep him healthy. They've got great backs. I mean, Teofili busts off a big play, 2 or 3 times a game. He gets limited touches, but he's so elusive and so explosive. Yep. Benson's a workhorse. You got to have him. Yeah. I thought he had a pretty good game. People are like, they're not running the football well. I'm like, Duke's a good run defense.
Oh, very good run defense. That was a tough team.
That ain't the old Duke. You know?
Duke put up a really good fight. I mean, they controlled that game for about 2 quarters and change. Let's be real. But the Florida State defense, give them credit. Much maligned. Man, Duke
played well in the second half. Duke didn't have they shut down LSU, and they shut down Duke. No points.
Duke didn't have a single drive where they scored on I'll call it like a regular drive. Like their first touchdown of the game was the run. That was because Florida State went for it on 4th and 1, couldn't get it. Duke had 40 yards. Short field. Outside of that, and then you had a pick six by Jordan. The Duke offense, they ran for a lot of yards and everything, but Florida State's defense didn't really let them do much. And so that's 3 really good games that the Florida State defense has showed up now.
And special teams, man. Deuce Spann takes that kickoff after the pick six and just, I think it was right after. Unbelievable. Doesn't even get touched. His speed is something else. Wow, just electric. That was a huge, huge play. You're going to go back to, against Clemson. It was the linebacker, number 4, Deloach, who gets the scoop and score. the huge play in that game. And then this play by Deuce, taking it to the house. And then they just, they controlled it the rest of the way. Yep. Another great game for Keon Coleman.
He had an incredible catch over the middle of the field.
God. Again, God, that guy's so freaking good. Johnny Wilson had a couple of big plays in it as well. Who else got involved?
I saw Jaheim Bell.
Jaheim
Bell, man. That dude is a dog. That's the type of guys that Florida State has been missing for years.
Yeah, they need to get him the ball a little bit more. But all in all, listen, you take down Duke by 18 points, covered the spread. They were in trouble for a while, but they've done this. They did it to LSU, they did it to Clemson, and now they did it to Duke in the second half. This team has no quit in it, man. It just feels like they're going to win. They know they're going to win. They can make plays. Travis is huge in the clutch. I love where they're at. Now they got two. They're at Wake Forest and at Pitt for 2 away games. Don't get surprised. Don't get any big bad injuries. Go out there and play with intensity, man. Right. Do what you got to do against these bad teams.
You just got to just survive in advance. And listen, you win by 3 scores. That's a great win. That's a great win. 3 scores against the top, they were 16th in the nation.
Yeah.
Take that every single day. Nobody else has scored on Duke like Florida State did. But look around yesterday, or that day in college football, which was crazy, and the whole thing about getting good wins. And we talked about style points, and FSU was able to add that on in the fourth quarter. I mean, my UCF Knights, my goodness.
Holy heck, man.
How the hell? I mean, I was out and about in Tallahassee, so I wasn't watching the game, and we got to our hotel, and there was 8 minutes left, I think, in the game, and Florida, and they're down by 6. I'm texting people. I'm like, what the hell happened? What have I missed? And I'm sitting there attentively, and it goes down. I don't know if you saw the end of the game. Yeah, they score there, and make it 31-29, and then, oh, the goodness, the 2-point call from Gus. I don't know what. And we're doing trick plays. The receiver's trying to throw. I mean, doesn't even throw it. I don't know where it was going to go if he did throw it. Just awful. It sucks to get that close.
For the old Philly special or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah.
It looks great when it works, but when it doesn't, you look like a fool.
Right.
Like a fool.
I hate that, but hey, I mean, I thought they were going to get blown out by 3 scores at least. And 2-point loss, I'll take it. But Oklahoma struggled. Washington against Arizona State. If it wasn't for the referees in this game,
Washington should have a loss. They should have a loss.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for teams like Arizona State. When it's the game of the year for you. You do everything you should be doing, and then you just get it stolen like that. That's
and listen, I hate to be Mr. Ref conspiracy guy, but that happened after USC laid their little egg against Utah, and now they're out. We already know Oregon has a loss, so the Pac-12's only guaranteed hope to get into the playoff for the first time since 2016 is Washington.
Yep.
Now you tell me on that play that was called pass interference.
So you're saying it's in the best interest of the conference.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And who controls the officials?
The commissioners, I believe.
The conference.
Yeah, so I have to think that somebody, called into the earpiece there and said, pick up that damn flag. Pick up that flag. Yeah. So, but Washington struggles.
We got $30 million on the line in this playoff spot. I don't know what the hell you're thinking, bro. But after we're extinct after this year. We need the cash. Yeah. Right. I don't think Washington's going to be losing any conference games anytime soon. I'm not sure they have any non-conference left. But yeah, so for the first time, Michael Penix, Tampa Bay Tech, struggled against a 1-6 Arizona State team.
And you know who didn't struggle once again? And I know everybody's talked about their schedule and scandals, but
don't talk to me about Michigan. Do not talk to me about that.
They kill everybody. Everybody
they don't play anybody. My God, you can't.
Oklahoma
I swear to
just
God,
played you. Hold up.
Somebody said this weekend that if FSU and Michigan are both undefeated, Michigan gets in. Bull effing shiz. No freaking way. You can't schedule those non-conference patsies while we're playing LSU in Florida in our non-conference, and we go undefeated. If FSU goes, come on, stop it.
I understand
stop
that.
It.
I'm just saying there are teams across, and Florida State had this with Boston College. All these teams are having scares with their own conference teams, and Michigan's just beating the brakes out of everybody.
Yeah, but Michigan State sucks too.
How
good are these Big Ten teams? Did you watch the Ohio State-Penn State game?
Yes, it was ugly. It was awful.
Oh, it's horrible. They can't complete an out pattern. Neither one of them is going to trust their freaking quarterbacks to complete a 5-yard out.
Right.
They run slant after slant after slant, and that's it, and hand the ball off. Come on.
The Big Ten stinks, but I just think...
What an absolute disgrace of an offense. Iowa. Iowa got 2 yards in the second half, and they're going to be in a championship game. Are you
2 yards?
Come on.
Oh,
Michigan's going to beat Iowa and then we're going to put them in the college football playoff. No,
I'm just saying. If Michigan takes care of their business, they're in.
This cheating scandal has legs. You can't. And if the human beings on the committee, if it comes down, and I don't know how many undefeated teams we're going to have, but if we have 6 undefeated teams and Michigan's one of them,
we're not having
you're not
6. We're not having 6.
You're not. If we have 5. If we have 5, they're the odd man out.
They're getting
and there'll
in,
probably be some one-loss teams that I would put in ahead of them.
If they get in, they will have beat Penn State probably handily, and then they would have beaten Ohio State 2 times probably.
No,
or do they still have divisions in the Big Ten?
Yeah, they still have divisions,
okay.
Right?
Well, they're going to have win Ohio State. They're going to be undefeated. They're going to be in.
And they got Ohio State at home, and Ohio State ain't that good.
Ohio State's defense is really good.
Yeah, but their offense is awful.
Their offense is outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. is
yeah.
But yeah. It was a wild week though. North Carolina lost to Virginia.
Yeah,
at
what is
home.
up with that?
And who says? And people are saying, "Oh, like I saw people were cheering this when the score came across at Goat Campbell."
Barber. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, how's that good for Florida State that North Carolina drops to Virginia?
Be smarter, FSU fans. Be smarter. Come on, that's dumb. You know, the ACC doesn't get, and they never have, because they've never protected FSU. What they raped FSU and the officiating all these years. And you have a team that, in past years could win a national championship. You're not screwing. Just give them a fair shake. For
look at the AP poll. Why is Ohio State ahead of Florida State?
I have no idea.
I know they beat Notre Dame.
No respect.
I know they beat Penn State. Whatever. But have they objectively looked better than Florida State this year?
No.
No.
They've looked like that part of Tally that you just saw.
Yeah. It's just not. Don't mistake. Like, I know they have really good defense and everything. I said that, but don't mistake a low-scoring game as, everybody's playing great defense. I watched a lot. The offenses were just awful, too.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, so.
Yeah, and as TJC said, Gus Johnson. I used to love Gus. I can't
No, this is Gus Malzahn. This is Gus Malzahn.
I was talking about Gus Johnson. Ohio State calling that game. Oh, just stop. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. All right. That'll do it for this edition of the JP Peterson Show. Thank you, Nick Geddes. Our thanks to Casey Hudson and Dave Archer as well from Falcons Radio for joining us here today. If you missed any of it, you can go listen back on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Just download the JP Peterson Show. We have a new link for that, by the way. So if you're looking for the JP Peterson Show, and we've got one that hasn't been updated, we have one that has. So make sure you got on the right link. Same with our YouTube page. Please subscribe to that as well. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Scott Reynolds will join us tomorrow along with TJ Reeves, our usual Tuesdays. So we'll have that for you. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.